Wow, you're fast. Good morning, everybody. I feel like you were just waiting for me to initiate this Periscope. You must have your finger just poised, ready to push the button. How's everybody doing? I just posted my blog post for the day. I might talk about that, or maybe something else. Kristina, welcome to my Periscope. Right on time? Good. I thought you'd expect me about now. You don't want to talk about Trump's taxes anymore? Yeah. I should look tired. Didn't sleep much. Waited too long for a haircut. Mexico pays for the wall. I like your name. Did I play lacrosse? I did not. Glycemic index? Well, I would say just Google the glycemic index, because you'll find out more about it there. The basic idea is that some foods boost your glycemic, whatever, your sugar. I'm no scientist, but the point is you want to stay away from foods that are high on the glycemic index. You could just Google that and find out which ones they are. Wikileaks Wednesday. I'm expecting, as always, nothing out of Wikileaks that moves the needle. It'll be interesting, it'll be headlines. I don't think it'll be anything. H wanted to drone Assange. Lacrosse as a sport. Really, the Olympics don't recognize lacrosse as a sport? Well, isn't that embarrassing for lacrosse players? There's a undismissible blog ad. Have you tried just closing your browser and trying again? Clear your cache, maybe? I'll see what I can do about that. Sometimes some bad ads leak through because the ads are served by several third parties in this very complicated arrangement. It's impossible actually to find a specific ad and delete it. Yeah, it's not impossible. It's just hard. H asked if we could drone Assange. I never get too excited about somebody asking the question. All right, when you ask the question, you're just laying out all the options, which is really kind of different from, let's go kill this guy. There is a big difference between knowing all the options and putting them on the table, and then, I assume that was quickly. Quickly dismissed. It was asked in a rhetorical way. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about stuff like that. All the little stuff doesn't matter. What it comes down to, this election comes down to, it's going to come down to whether you think Clinton is honest and healthy enough, and whether you think Trump is, the temperament, I guess. Now, somebody asked me the other day if I thought that Godzilla, my pet name for Robert Cialdini, who's a cognitive scientist and had advised the Obama campaign. We don't know if he's advising the Clinton campaign, but it seems like a good guess. He has not denied it, nor has he confirmed it. Which is the sort of thing you say when you're doing it, not the sort of thing when you say when you're not doing it. If you're not consulting for a presidential candidate and somebody asks you, you say, no, I'm not consulting. You don't say, I don't talk about that. So you draw your own conclusions. Anyway, I was talking about temperament, I think. Temperament is the topic of my blog post today. I think I'll let that speak for itself, so you should go check it out. But I also did in the blog a little bit in a more abbreviated form, what I did when I gave a little chalk talk on Periscope the other day, talking about the risks. Oh, you got a bad connection? Is it only bad on your end? Because I think my Wi-Fi is kicking butt right here. The Twitter trolls. Yeah, so apparently I don't know if I've been targeted or it was just time. Maybe it was just my time. But it looks like I'm targeted because these Slate articles seem coincidentally timed with all of the trolls that just suddenly appeared on my Twitter feed that all say essentially the same stuff. You know, they all have the same little sarcastic snarkiness and almost exactly the same approach. And we know that there's an organized campaign to go after people who are seen as influential Trump pundits and supporters. So if they're not after me, they're really doing a bad job of being trolls, because, you know, who would you go after if not people like me? Yes, the trolls came and went. Yeah, why are there so few bumper stickers this election? Well, I think it's unsafe to have a Trump bumper sticker, and it's embarrassing to have a Clinton bumper sticker. So therefore, not many bumper stickers. I'm not sure if bumper stickers are a big thing anymore, are they? Yeah, all the badly bearded beta males are coming after me. Many trolls are hired offshore workers. That feels right, because the trolls that have been in my Twitter feed, they don't seem to have any kind of deep understanding of things. They're sort of it looks like they're operating from some kind of set of instructions that are all the same. Yeah, actually, you're right. I guess there were a lot of Bernie stickers, but the Bernie people didn't have as much to be embarrassed about or afraid of. You know, nobody ever vandalized a car because it had a Bernie sticker on it. Bernie got the same treatment from the trolls. And is there any chance Trump wins California? Not really. Yeah, they have a script and never answer direct questions. Yeah. Do I think Trump meditates? Probably not, but I wouldn't know. Will the VP debate change anything? Nope, it will not. Can Trump win New York? I doubt it. Aren't New York and California the two that are out of the question? I think Pennsylvania's got a shot. So, and he doesn't really need New York and California to win, right? If he gets everything else. What's your opinion on alcohol? Alcohol is poison that has a side effect that makes you happy while you're poisoning yourself. Once I stopped drinking socially, I feel tons better all the time. And I used to drink, once a week, typically. Fluoride. No, I don't drink alcohol. I have embarked on a more healthy lifestyle. I mean, and I think it's working. For my age, it would be hard to find anybody who's as healthy at my age. Chosen by God. Stopped drinking a year and a half ago and don't miss it. Yeah, I realized after I stopped drinking that it was really a way to have a particular type of social life. If all your friends drink, it's sort of what you do, because you can't hang out with drinkers and not drink. So when you get rid of drinking, you end up changing your friends at the same time, whether you want to or not, because you just don't fit in anymore. It's said to have a magical effect on writing. Did Trump leak his tax returns to the New York Times? I don't know, but I can say this. Either Trump leaked his taxes to the New York Times intentionally, or it was the luckiest thing that happened to him all year. And he's had a lot of luck this year, but nothing would equal that for just pure luck and timing and effect. Because what are the odds that that 1 year is the one that got leaked, right? Now, if you think about it, here's why it's the luckiest thing, and maybe you don't see it yet. As soon as it was leaked that he had this massive loss, and then the New York Times said this will allow him to potentially, but they don't know, just potentially the way the law works, to avoid paying taxes for up to 18 years. Now, that's only if you didn't have much income those 18 years compared to the loss. But if he had, big income the very next year, then he's right back to paying taxes. We don't know what happened after that. But here's the thing. The brilliance of it is that by leaking that particular year, which is probably his worst year, that it made everybody talk about how taxes work. So everywhere in the country yesterday, smart people were explaining to their dumb friends how taxes work. And among the things that they told their friends was they said, first of all, 100% of accountants, no matter whether they supported Clinton or Trump, would have treated his taxes the same way. Because it wasn't like an option. There's not a box you check that says, do I want to carry my taxes forward or not? It's just what accountants do. They literally are just looking at the law and saying, okay, when you have this sort of loss, this is one of those ones that carries over. You don't ask yourself, will I carry it over? You never say, should I take this gigantic tax advantage that the government is clearly offering me, because in these exact situations, the government prefers that I do it. That's why it's there. It's not there because the government doesn't want you to do it. It's there because they want you to take exactly that kind of, Anyway, so at first it sounds terrible and everybody says, my God, he's not paying taxes. And then smart people explain to all their dumb friends. It takes a while. It might take a week or two before, there are enough smart people explaining it to enough dumb people. And they say, no, he's just doing taxes the way everybody does taxes. And by the way, I do exactly the same thing on a much smaller scale, but on a year I had some tax losses. I got to carry them forward against other tax losses. And my accountant didn't say, would you like to carry these losses forward from this one bad year? No, they don't say that. They say, I carried your losses forward. They don't even ask you. They just tell you they did it because it's so automatic. It's just what you do. So eventually everybody will explain that to their dumb friends, and their dumb friends will feel dumb, and this issue will have no effect on anything. But look at the genius of the way it unfolded. By showing his big loss first, it just completely controls the conversation. So if later he were to, two possibilities. One, he never shows you his taxes. Everyone will assume that the reason he isn't is because it's going to show he's not paying enough taxes. And that will already be baked into the formula. People will say, oh, okay, somebody explained it to me. He's not paying taxes because he had a big loss. The government organizes tax law that way. He just took advantage. No problem. So the worst case scenario is now all of our minds go to that being the reason he's not releasing his taxes. And that reason isn't so bad, because even people who oppose him use the same methods. The New York Times used exactly the same method, it has been reported. So if he doesn't release his taxes now, the rest of them, he's in the best shape he's ever been in, because people will assume this is the reason. And now they know the reason. And by the way, that's probably not the reason. The real reason is there's so many things in the tax return that someone could find a problem with. But if he doesn't release them now, everybody will assume it's just that one problem, and that one's pretty easy to explain away. And by the way, he pays tons of taxes, and property taxes, and employee taxes, and lots of other types of taxes. He just doesn't pay that particular one kind of tax. And again, smart people will explain that to their dumb friends all over the world until people sort of understand. But in any case, it's not going to affect the race. That's just not one of the big issues of the race. His employees also pay taxes. So the way taxes are created is that somebody creates a company and hires people, and both the company and the employees pay taxes. So even if the company gets away without paying taxes for 1 year, or maybe more because there's a big loss. The employees are still paying. All the vendors who sold him stuff to build his buildings, they're all paying taxes. If there's something called the multiplier effect in economics, which is that if I make money, I spend it, and then the person I spend it on has money, and then they spend it, and then the person they bought stuff from has money, and they spend it, and on and on. So somebody like Trump is at the top of the stream. If he builds an enormous multi-billion-dollar building, there are just billions and billions of dollars that ripple through the economy from that, and all of those billions and billions are generating taxes in different ways, but they're all generating taxes and jobs and all that. So you could actually remove the head of the stream from the calculation. As long as everybody else is paying their taxes downstream, it's still an enormous benefit to the economy. I love you, please kiss me. That's the nicest offer I've gotten on Periscope within the last 10 minutes. Isn't that trickle down proven wrong? No, that's a different trickle down. Trickle down in the specific sense is that if the company is creating economic activity, there's lots of things to be taxed. So that's not trickle down economics in the way that you're thinking about it. I will be in London within the day. I think technically it'll be the 4th in London. And so will Kristina. Coincidence? No. If you didn't hear yesterday, Kristina is my girlfriend and not just my neighbor. Isn't that right, Kristina? Are you still listening? What do you think of trickle down? Trickle down economics is typically that's when you cut taxes on people so that there's more economic activity to pay more taxes. Typically that doesn't work. So economically there's no backing for that. There is backing for cutting taxes in specific areas. So let's say you cut corporate taxes, for example. I think that might be a stronger argument because that might actually directly influence how people invest. Yeah, I don't think I'll get knighted when I'm in England. Supply side economics, yeah. Supply side economics and trickle down, it's all sort of the same thing. Tax break to mothers, that's not trickle down, correct. Yeah, the tax code has lots of purposes. Some of the tax code is to collect money, but others is to create a specific social good. So taxes do lots of things. They don't just try to stimulate the economy. The Laffer curve has been largely debunked. Yeah, if you're betting on Trump because of supply-side economics, that's a poor bet because that's been sufficiently debunked. If you're betting on him because the person with the most energy and the person bringing change and the person who might adjust taxes to make them make more sense or simplify them or any of those are all good reasons. But supply-side economics is not one of them. Social engineering, yeah, taxes are designed for social engineering. So you could argue that you don't want that, but that's what taxes are designed to do currently. You could argue that they shouldn't be. Drudge headline, Bill's son Danny. Is that the headline today? I got to check that. I got to see what Drudge says. The headline on the Drudge report is, I am Bill Clinton's son. I am real. There was no DNA test. Let's look at this headline. Can you see it? I am Bill Clinton's son. I am real. There was no DNA test. So I don't know anything about this, but let's see. Does he look like Bill Clinton's son? Obviously, we would assume an African American mother if it were true. I don't know. Does it make any difference to the election? Probably not. I think Clinton's activities have largely been, or Bill Clinton's have largely been baked into the cake. Nobody thinks he's an angel. Nobody thinks Trump was an angel. I'm not sure any of that will make a difference to the election. Keynesian economics has been debunked, has it? Does Trump drop hints of inside info that he later knows will be public? I don't know. You'd have to give me an example of that. New Klein book tomorrow about what? Clinton? Which Klein are we talking about? The same Klein who wrote, was it Primary Colors? Was that the book about the Clinton campaign? Have I watched Clinton Cash? No, I don't think I need to. I'm pretty sure that's all baked into Naomi Klein. Don't know about her. How can Trump win with only the white vote? Have you looked at the polls? He's within roughly, because in the Electoral College, you just have to win by basically one vote in most of them. And he's within a 1% flip of most of those big states. In other words, if 1% went from Clinton to him and a couple of Gary Johnson votes, you're already there. So yeah, he can win with the coalition he has plus 1%, which seems possible. Yeah, you can't look at any one poll and say he's winning or losing. So Assange is in the Ecuador embassy in London. Is that where he is? New York Times admitted Obamacare failed. Ouch. Polls are rigged. My friend who knows a lot about polls has been saying that they're accurate. So I sent him one of the critiques of severe oversampling of Democrats, and his answer was that these polls are more art than science. Do you know what that means? It means the polls are bullshit. And you can't say that the polls are accurate and they're more art than science, and they seem to disagree. He's at 266 now. One state away. So what would it take? Just Pennsylvania? What does Assange have? I'm saying nothing. Maybe something, that'll get us babbling for a while. Cadell says they're, yes, Kristina is my girlfriend and sort of my neighbor. And we're going to London very soon, today. By the way, I'll be talking to you from London and also Switzerland, where we'll be just for a couple days. All right, I've got a lot to do. And I'm going to go do that right now. Got to get ready for my trip and read my blog, read my Twitter. I'll probably put my Instagram and Snapchat information in my blog. Yeah, actually, I think I'll do that. I'll put that there. All right, follow me. I'll be taking off. See you later.